everybody, Merry Christmas. It's December 25th, 2022, and that northern bomb blizzard has struck Florida, and lucky for me and many of us in South Florida, we got some cold weather, but nothing like our brothers and sisters that are up further north. So to everybody up there, I've been watching you on Facebook, and I know you guys have been working really hard to protect your fruit trees. And many of you have gotten greenhouses set up, temporary greenhouses, and covered the trees very well. And my hat's off to you guys. I hope everything survives. I know most of it will if you protected it. But if you didn't protect your trees with the kind of cold weather you had up there, I'm really sorry. I know you lost a lot of valuable trees. What we're looking at here, this is a mulberry tree. It's doing great. It's in a pot. We got about 42, maybe 43, 44, probably on the low end, maybe 42. I think that's as cold as we got here in Davie last 2 nights. The lychee tree over here is really going to be happy because they kind of need that cool chill, and they got plenty of it. A little bit more won't hurt, and we hope to get a nice crop of lychees. Really nice crop of lychees. So the idea is, the more chill you get, which is temperatures below 45 degrees, will help the many of the plants that require chill to produce more fruit. So this lychee is in a kind of a raised bed that I created there, and it's actually grown quite a bit. This is a Mauritius lychee tree. Now I'm going to sneak it. This here is a baobab tree. This is actually a seed-grown baobab tree that later on, what I did is, and it's in a 15-gallon container. What I did to this baobab is I grafted it, and I obtained some scion wood from a mature tree down in South Florida. And I've got several of these grafted trees, but this is the biggest one that I have. And part of the reason for that is simply because I stepped it up gradually now in the 15-gallon. And as you can see, the cold weather really beat him up. But yeah, it took quite a bit of cool weather, and it'll be fine. It'll drop all of its leaves, and it'll go into kind of a dormancy. This is a nice sugar apple tree over here that's giving me some great sugar apples, and it'll be fine. It doesn't usually have any kind of a problem with that cool temperature, unless you get into a freeze. Here's a sweetheart lychee. I recently got this one. And this one's doing nice. This is in a 15-gallon pot. I got to plant this somewhere. I'll probably make a raised bed and do the same thing. And you got a lot of nice new growth up here on it. The wind is not good for lychees or any of these type of trees because those small little leaves get dried out real quick and slows down their growth quite a bit. I'm going to sneak around the back. I want to show you, in a minute, I'll show you my cacao trees. As I walk along, this is a macadamia tree right here. This is not a grafted. This is actually a tree I purchased a long time ago. I got 2 of these, and now they're in the 15-gallon pots. And this tree is called Arkin, and Arkin is a type of a macadamia called paper shell. It has a very easy to crack shell. I haven't gotten any fruit yet, but I hope it'll produce in a year or so. But it is from a cutting. I got this tree from a cutting. And I recently started a couple of cuttings, and I've also have a few air layers of this variety. And I have another one I'll show you in a minute. So here, this is a carambola tree. That's a carambola tree. Had a bunch of fruit on it, still developing, and then I had to just prune it. So I pruned it and took off quite a bit because it was really shading out those cacaos in the back. I have those cacaos that have been suffering a little bit last couple of days because of this cold weather we just had. But anyway, I'm going to show you the soursops, and then I'll come back to the cacao. Soursops are really not happy, and I hope I didn't make a mistake this year because in the past I brought in many of the soursops, and I also left many of the soursops out, and most of the times they'll get really bad like this, but they'll bounce back. So since I figured, you know what, let's harden them up, let's get them toughened up, and let's kind of make sure that the ones that are the most cold tolerant ones are the ones that survive. And that's kind of what I did here, and I'm kind of sad because I'm a little worried, but I always get worried, and then they always bounce back. So far so good, never had a problem. I've never lost one here in many years to the cold, and I have had quite a bit of cold. Not freezing, not 32 degrees, but I've had close to it. I've had as low as 34, 33, 36, and I've left, I would say, a few of them out, and they survived. Now these are, as you can see, the leaves are really unhappy. They're very, they've turned like a pale brown color. And then this guy over here is a little better in some respects, but you can see how dried out those leaves are. And again, the only thing I did was water the soil really well prior to the cold snap. This guy is not doing too bad. I mean, some of the leaves are a little greener, but it's still, they all suffered. You can see everybody suffered here. They all went through a rough couple of nights. And as I said, you know, and actually some of these have flowers. I wonder if the flowers fell off. Now here's the flowers. Still have some flowers. See them right there. And I have one I'll show you that has actually some fruit on it. This is an air-layered soursop tree. And this air-layered soursop tree is from the Miami variety. And it's done well. It's doing well. And it's, you know, going through that cold weather. So it should be, hopefully, you know, surviving. And you can see I've got a nice fruit up here. Got a little fruit, little Miami soursop. Show you the fruit. We'll see how that works out. Moving along here, we have other trees that are also having some rough time with the cool weather. That's a cashew. See, cashew does not like the cold weather. Not happy. Okay. This one, however, seems to be so far so good. Not too bad. And then I have this little cashew. You can see that's the new growth that's affected the most. You can see that new growth. Very tender, very unhappy. This is a Maprang, M-A-P-R-A-N-G. This Maprang has got those fresh leaves right there, that young growth. Really got messed up. You can see how bad it got. And then in the back is a much more, I would say, not just a taller, but a much older tree of a cashew. So you can see that cashew tree right there is not doing too bad. It's doing okay. This is an Ilama in that pot. That was actually a grafted Ilama. And doing as well as it could be. I mean, it doesn't like the cold either, but seems to be doing fine. And now you're looking at a jackfruit tree. This is a 15-gallon jackfruit. That's a dwarf jackfruit, grafted, has produced some flowering, but I've removed the flowers. I want to get that in the ground. And once I have that in the ground, we'll worry about producing some fruit. And moving along over here, I have, these are abiu. Abiu is a wonderful, delicious fruit, similar to the texture of a caimito, if you know what a caimito is. And what I did here is, these are grafted trees that I obtained from ZIL plants several years ago. And they have flowered a few times, but maybe because they're in the pot, we haven't had any luck getting any fruit set yet. And here I decided that we're going to give a try to what's called an approach graft. So we're going to graft by approach grafting, and I'll talk about that in some future videos. In the back you see this, another cacao tree, and let me come in for a close-up because I want to show you what happens with the cold weather to the pods. Look what's happening to the pods. But what I've noticed is it happens to the younger pods. So these really small pods, they get fried from the cold. Just 2 days ago, these were nice and bright and green. And now you can see how fried they are. But yet, look at these guys, right? The stronger, more mature, more developed pods, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's because of their size or what, but they seem to be doing much better from the cool weather. Whereas the little tiny ones, smaller ones, they don't like that at all. So this is my container grown tree. You can see it's in a 15-gallon, actually that's a 25-gallon container. And here I have it right next to this concrete wall. And I think that helps because it probably radiated back some heat. But we're hoping that this tree actually produces and holds on. I shouldn't say produces. I hope this tree holds on and we're okay. We don't lose it, and I don't think we will. I think it'll be fine. But we're going to probably lose quite a few of those pods. There's a couple of coffee plants. Again, I apologize for the unsteadiness of this video because of this gimbal. But I assure you, it's better than handheld. These are coffee. You can see this one's already flowering, and some of these have already had fruit. Little coffee cherries, and again, they don't like the cold either. You can see what's going on with that, with those leaves. Mostly the new growth is the first one to suffer. All right, let's go back over this way and swing around. There's another look at how badly affected these soursops are. That's Miami. This one I call Australian because an Australian friend, got me some seeds years ago from Australia. I call this one my Australian. This one's going on a little over 3 years, and it's already beginning to produce some flowers. No fruit yet, but he tells me they're a good large fruit. So I hope that since most soursops come true to seed, for the most part, I should have some awesome Australian variety of soursop in the future. And this is a Whitman's fiberless soursop. This one right here is a Whitman's fiberless. Pretty sure it is. Let me see. Let me see what I'm talking about. Yep. WF, Whitman's fiberless. And didn't do too bad from the cold. A couple of days we'll really know. But it seems like maybe it was protected a little better over here. This is a charapita, which is a pepper plant. And it's not too happy from the cold either. This plant comes from Peru, so, you know, I don't think they like it too cold, even though they are from the mountainous areas along the rivers. This is a lemon drop mangosteen in a 15-gallon pot. We'll see how this works out because I never left them out in the cold before. And this poor guy, also lemon drop mangosteen. Look at that growth on those leaves there. All dried out, not happy. Then back here, this is an achacha. It's another mangosteen relative. This is an achacha. Not bad. Not doing too bad. Let's hope it survives. I think it'll be fine. This is miracle fruit. I used to freak out when I first got these many years ago. I was so scared that they were going to have like all kinds of problems with the cold. And over the years, I've learned they're pretty cold hardy. I've had these out to 33, 34 with no problems. I would not risk freezing, but I don't freak out anymore, and I don't bring them inside. They do really well, and they've been in pots for a long time. This one here, I got a bunch of fruit off recently, and then this guy right next to it is just now going to give us a nice crop. You can see the flowers. Lots of white little flowers. In about 45 days, that'll be loaded with fruit. We left all of the cacaos out. These are the seed-grown cacaos, and some of these are grafted. The majority are all seed-grown cacao. I brought a few of the grafted varieties inside because I don't want to take a chance.